thinking of starting your study journey in Canada, then you need to consider some of the very important steps involved. First thing is to plan your immigration journey accordingly. What it involves? It involves choosing your educational institution properly. When I mean properly, is to choose educational institution which is qualified for the postgraduate open work permit. There is a common belief that after finishing Canadian education, you will obtain open work permit. But did you know that not all educational institutions in Canada are qualified for such work permit? If you didn't know that, then here's a surprise for you. All educational institutions, they have their DLI numbers, which stands for Designated Learning Institution Number. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada has a special online tool created to help those who intend to study in Canada to understand if their educational institutions are qualified to obtain work permit afterwards. Make sure to do your research. Don't blindly believe all those educational agents who are trying to obtain you fast letter of acceptance to educational institution in Canada. Just the fact of obtaining letter of acceptance and getting study permit and arriving to Canada as a student is not the end of your immigration journey in Canada. If afterwards you're planning to obtain permanent residency, then you need to make sure that after finishing your program of study, you will be able to obtain work permit and then qualified work experience. Then later on, you can apply for the permanent residency in Canada. The next point I would like to discuss is the work permit duration. For how long would you be able to receive your postgraduate work permit? The minimum length of study should be for at least 8 months. If you studied for 8 months in a qualified educational institution, you will be able to obtain work permit for 8 months. If the program of study was for 1 year, your work permit will be valid for 1 year, and so on. But very important to remember, if your program of study was for 2 years or longer, you will be able to obtain 3 years open work permit, which is the maximum duration of it. And remember, postgraduate work permit is one-time opportunity. You can obtain it only once in your lifetime. For example, you arrive to Canada as an international student of an eligible post-secondary institution and obtain, for example, your bachelor's degree, which was for approximately 3 to 4 years. After graduating, you obtained your postgraduate open work permit for 3 years, found a job in Canada, but somehow within this period of time, you were not able to obtain permanent residency. And you decided that you want to continue with your studies and obtain master's degree, for example. You finished 2 years of study more from eligible post-secondary institution, and you think that you can obtain work permit after your master's degree, but here's a trick: you cannot. You already used that one-time opportunity. You already used your chance to have postgraduate work permit, and you cannot obtain the new one. Of course, probably a lot of you has heard that during the COVID time, government makes some certain exemption when students were allowed to extend their postgraduate work permits. But remember, that was COVID times. Now we're in a post-pandemic situation, and in post-pandemic and prior to pandemic situations, these exemptions don't exist. If you used your one-time opportunity to obtain postgrad work permit, you're done. You should have used that period of time to obtain qualified work experience and be able to immigrate to Canada and get your permanent residence. And remember, your journey to study in Canada is just the beginning of your story. You need to make sure you have the proper planning of all your immigration goals. If you're planning to stay in Canada, obtain permanent residency, obtain Canadian citizenship, you need to have proper planning in ahead. You need to make sure that you have chosen the proper educational institution which is qualified for the postgraduate open work permit. Did you find this video useful? Then don't forget to comment below, follow our channel and like this video. This was Irina exclusively for AnyVisa.